Hello, and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode number 150, giant, oversized, special anniversary edition episode.
Way to plug it, Ryan.
With half the cast. So there you go. Yeah. This is the episode for the week of March 18th, 2014. Actually, I'm sorry, March 17th, 2014. We're recording a day late due to Geekbox's moving of dates and GDC and yada, 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 with one Alice Liang back on for a special episode, which you guys will hear probably after this episode goes up. We're recording last and going up first, and there you go. Who is here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
Charlie West.
And very special guest. They were supposed to be on for the Geekbox. However, due to some GDC shenanigans, we have moved around. They're taking the Booby Prize, however, and coming on the Comic Conspiracy podcast. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Mike Campbell from southern New Hampshire.
Almost my hometown, almost my area.
Still counts.
And your wife is here, decided to stay off camera or off mic.
Stay a little quiet.
That's
until
fine.
She feels comfortable.
That's
but
fine.
My wife Morel is here with us.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us.
There's a female here.
Don't be that guy,
So
Brock.
close.
Don't be that guy, Brock. That's why they don't show up.
That's okay. Brock just can't help it.
Well, Mike, you are a comic book fan, as well as being a Geekbox fan. You also, luckily, a comic book fan as well.
Yes.
So hopefully you're not too disappointed.
You guys
here.
helped bring it back.
Excellent.
My comic bookness.
Nice.
I'm
nice.
sorry.
I like to hear that. As you know, we like to do a little secret origin of people if they've been on the episode for the first time to kind of give us an idea of what they like in comics, kind of where they started reading, what they're reading now, their history of comics. So why don't you give us a little history there of your comic reading past?
Well, it all began at garage sales in Laconia, New Hampshire. Me and my dad would go to yard sales, and I'd buy any comics I could see. Mostly, and then I really got interested in XMen, so I'd basically just focus on that as a kid. And
Is this
then,
like 80s, 90s stuff?
yeah, like 89.
Yeah, okay.
Then about like 92 or so, I found out we had a comic book store in my hometown, and I went to it, and it was basically Comic Book Guy from The Simpsons.
Sounds about right.
And I went up there, all innocent, asking about Dazzler, and who I really liked, and he just like brushed me off and made me feel stupid. So I was like, well, no more comic books for a while.
If you're a Dazzler fan in 1992, it probably should have been brushed off. That's about the time where she was probably at her lowest popularity.
It was where my love of like musicals and performing, and my love for superheroes met in the middle. So then I actually read a lot of book adaptions of comic books. In particular, the Death of Superman.
Those were...
I read that like 2 or 3 times.
That was the... I mean, they still do them to this day, but that was around the time where those became legitimately really popular.
Yeah, I was grabbing them at the library all the time, as many as I could. The one that stood out, like I remember reading 3 or 4 times, was The Death of Superman.
Yep, I had that too.
And I still haven't read the comic. I feel like I should go back and read it sometime.
You should.
And then the Marvel movies started coming out, like XMen in 98 or 99.
Yeah.
And I didn't get back into it until like Civil War.
Okay.
And House of M.
So were you reading kind of into the mid 90s? Were you reading it all, or?
Yeah, like early 90s.
Okay. Yeah.
And then like I just focused on like books and stuff that I could find.
Oh, that is, I mean, I'm sure you've heard us talk about this many times. That is the time when basically everyone stopped reading comics.
Yeah.
The entire industry crashed. Everyone came in late 80s, early 90s with all the Image and the big Marvel stuff, and Todd McFarlane and all, Spawn and all the stuff was so big, and then it just completely crashed. So you were far from alone in that situation.
I'm sorry.
No. It is the rare person like myself that kept reading. I mean, Brock really didn't. Charlie, you did. You kept on and off, right? I mean, for the most part.
I went on and off in terms of what shop I was going to for a while, but no, I never stopped reading. At least stuff like Cable and stuff I continued with constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before, there's about 10,000 comic shops in the U.S., and by about 95 or 96, there was about 2,000, roughly. So, everyone stopped reading, so, you're far from alone.
Yeah, and then in college, I heard about Civil War was coming, and I don't know, it just blew my mind, like the idea of like people coming clean with who they are, and I was really interested in it, and people taking sides. So I subscribed to online website that because I was in northern Vermont and there was no comic book store for like 50 miles. So I got them all delivered to me. I loved it, but then I realized I was a college kid and it was like beer or comics. So sadly, I went with beer. And then when I graduated, I got back in around. If I'm wrong on the Messiah Complex, was it when Hope?
Oh yeah,
when Hope came back.
If only Bryce could have made the episode, you would have had a best friend for life.
And I was like, because I slightly remember Cable, and I was like, I really liked Cable, so
yeah.
Now you have another best friend for life, Charlie.
And so then I full board. I started listening to podcasts. They were talking about The Walking Dead, so I was reading The Walking Dead. I got into The Walking Dead around issue like 45, I think.
Good time.
A little into the run. But I went back and read everything. And I really like Arrow, Green Arrow, and the Arrow TV show, The Flash, Cable, and X-Force. I've been following in trades. Cool. I picked up Marvel Unlimited.
Oh, yeah.
The subscription service.
Yeah, we were just talking about that last week, I think.
I think you had a emailer last week talk about how it's hard to remember all the storylines when you're reading monthly. So I kind of prefer the trades or saving them up a few issues. And I know that a few issues is like 3 or 4 months sometimes. But I kind of like reading the whole arc.
Even though I generally only read single issues, I don't read that many trade paperbacks. That is normally how I read them. I mean, a lot of stuff I do read monthly as it comes out, but a lot of books, especially books like Fables, a lot of independent stuff, I almost read those. I'll get 6 or 8 or 10 issues in a row and just burn through them all. So, I mean, that is the best way to read those books if possible, because they're not written in a monthly format. They are written as kind of a complete story.
Well,
so
most comics aren't written really in a good monthly format anymore.
Well, they at least the main Marvel and DC stuff try more than the independent stuff is specifically just broken up and then it's written for the trade.
But I mean, every story arc is kind of planned with a trade in mind now.
Well, right. But yeah, they're a little easier to get into.
So that's basically. Can I say an unpopular opinion real quick?
Sure.
I really liked Y the Last Man.
Okay, that's a very popular opinion.
But I don't like Saga. I was really excited for Saga. I read the first 5 issions, and
I know people that don't like it.
I was forcing myself.
I know people that don't like it.
I was wondering if you guys could help me.
Is there
a way to read it or to enjoy it more?
I don't think everything Brian K. Vaughan does is the greatest thing ever made. I like most of it, but I've never been like his stuff is the top pinnacle of comic. And I mean, I know plenty of people that do. I liked Y the Last Man. I liked Ex Machina. I like what I've read of Saga. But I'm never like, this is the best comic I've ever read. His stuff to me, dry is not the right word, but it never has it never kind of hits the way that a lot of other Vertigo books or a lot of other independent stuff does for me. Again, it's just personal taste. He's not saying he's a bad writer at all. I like his stuff mostly, but like Runaways, and if Toby was here, he'd come over and punch me in the face, but I didn't like Runaways at all. I actually really disliked Runaways, and people love that book, so you're not totally alone.
To me, it just kind of comes down to when I'm trying to determine what to suggest to somebody or what book to hand in somebody's hand, it really comes down to certain things like, well, do you like this? Do you like this? With Saga, I'd be very much into do you like stuff like Farscape and stuff that's really into sort of the...
Well, Brian K. Vaughan is someone that I always recommend to other people because I know his writing and the way he does his books are very standalone, very easy to get into, and most people really like. This is just more of a personal take, so I'm not the biggest Brian K. Vaughan fan, but most people like him a lot more. So again,
I mean, I have the same thing with Brian Wood. Like his run on DMZ was amazing, and a couple of things that he's done I've read is really good. But some of his stuff I just I don't like. I can't get behind. But I mean, Saga's. I definitely had a difficulty at least initially with Saga because of the artwork. To me, it's a really big, grandiose world, and Fiona Staples' artwork isn't necessarily the best for it. So
I like her art a lot.
Yeah, I was about to say, now you just lost the other half of our audience.
Like I need your guys' approval for shit. But
Saga has enough people backing it.
Yeah,
like,
well, it
trust
does,
me.
yeah.
Trust
Yeah,
me.
most of the people I talk to about comics just love it. And
Yeah.
what's your problem?
I don't know. Not
Right.
every story's for everyone.
Yeah.
Volume 3's out tomorrow for.
Yeah, and we'll sell 1,000 million copies. And trust me,
And then you're
there's,
going to retire?
there is a difference between me saying, this is not really just for me, and me being like, no, this is a bad book. I'd never say Saga's a bad book. It's just, I like it. I just don't love it. But a lot of people do love it. So, yeah, that's great.
I think I was just really blown away by Ex Machina and I was just blown away by Why the Last Man.
Yeah,
That's
why it was good.
one of the
Why is probably my
best things I think I've read. And
of all his
time.
books, Why is my favorite.
and then
So,
I went right to Saga, and
It's not quite the same.
yeah.
Well, for me, funny enough, I had to attempt to read the first trade like twice
Oh, really?
because I couldn't get into it the first time I read it through in college, and then I was like, you know what, I'll give it another try, and I tried it again, and then the second time around, once I got through that first trade, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep going, and I finished it.
And it was
So,
the Playbill cover with the monkey.
Yeah.
And that was because that's one of the best covers, I think.
Yeah, I will say this, though. I do feel like Saga, once you get sort of sold on the world, then you're like all in. It's just one of those things that when you get into spaceships that are grown through trees and everything else, it's just kind of neat.
So,
But it's more world than story for me.
well, we're going to talk about some random news stuff. Feel free to chime in whenever you want. I'll go to you guys for some questions and comments, and then we'll do some Twitter questions. What about Dazzler? There you go.
Kismet.
Just a couple random things this week. Not a ton of big news, but well, actually, I take that back. There is kind of one awesome big thing that it was late last week. I don't think we actually really covered. But Original Sin, which is a big upcoming Marvel event where someone kills the Watcher. Ooh.
Finally, that guy's such a creeper.
Well,
Pervert.
so part of this Original Sin crossover there is about the tampering of Captain America's memory. If you remember that from Illuminati and all the new Avengers stuff, and they kind of mind wiped him.
Well, comics love their mind wipes.
Well, so the solicitation for this, again, a lot of times solicitations kind of ruin some plots. So the Avengers 29, which is a tie-in, is going to go back to that plot. It very much that same kind of reveal as Batman in an Identity Crisis. So it sounds like Cap's going to finally figure out what happened to him during all the Illuminati stuff. So, which is cool. I'm curious about this. I'm glad Hickman's not doing. I like Hickman, but his Avengers stuff hasn't really worked for me. But I'm glad Hickman's not doing the event. Jason Aaron is, so that's
Wasn't there
least
another
better.
Marvel story arc called Original Sin with Wolverine?
maybe.
I think when they
That was like crossover
started
with-
doing the
They've all-
Origin series or something, there was
Yeah, it was
something
in
like
Origins and then the
They've-
like regular
They've
series.
redone these titles 1,000 times. There
Yeah.
was an old Spider-Man miniseries called Identity Crisis. They're like, whatever.
that. I remember that.
Yeah, they rename this stuff all the time.
Antonio
so.
Banderas and Angelina Jolie's movie. That was kind of the basis. No? Okay.
So,
Sorry.
No. So there's, I am kind of looking forward to Original Sin. I think Infinity did not work as well as I would have liked.
Worked for me.
I've had issues with Avengers. I tried. I went through Infinity, and I've tried reading it post Infinity, and I have not.
Just so you
it's
know,
not worked for me.
Omar's head is blowing up right now.
Yeah,
Just
it's
listening to
fine. He likes his hipster comics, so it's okay. It's okay. Marvel also, and this is good news. There was talk from Kevin Feige, one of the heads of Marvel's cinematic property stuff. Says they are looking for. She said this is the Badass Digest. I don't know if that's a blog worth sourcing here, but I will for the time being. He says they're looking to do. The quote is, "Okay, we're now moving strategically to 3 a year. Now we're moving to 4 a year. Talking about movies, 4 Marvel movies a year, which is insane.
Yeah.
That is crazy talk. I'm so excited if that's actually going to happen to that level. But if you think this year we have We have X-Men First Class, we have Spider-Man, and we have Guardians. Only one is Marvel Universe.
Cap.
And Cap, so 4. So 2 Marvel... Sorry, I knew I was forgetting the first one.
And the one 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. So 2 Marvel Universe and 2 outside.
So that...
Which
so the 2
I'm okay
outside
with that.
still counts?
Well, they're Marvel. They have the Marvel logo,
That's
right?
true.
That's all that matters.
Well, it depends if he really means 6.
Maybe. I mean, I don't... Yeah, it doesn't say
Are the
whether he's
phases
talking...
going to be bigger?
I don't know. Well, so... It works with X-Men because they kind of rebooted X-Men with all the First Class stuff.
So good.
So First Class was fantastic. And Wolverine was way better than I thought it was going to be too.
We bought it, but we haven't watched Wolverine yet.
The first one's bad. This new one was pretty decent.
I thought it was okay, the first one.
Well, then you'll really like the new one.
Right.
Yeah. But I am excited for Marvel. The movies, as down as I may be on the comics occasionally, the movies have been almost flawless.
Unlike you, Ryan, I don't like seeing previews.
Yeah, see,
I won't
hate it.
watch them. The only way I'll watch them is if I'm in the movie theater. I enjoy watching them in the movie theater.
Sure.
But I went to see RoboCop, and I saw my first preview of the new X-Men.
Oh, cool.
And my mind just blew.
Well,
I can't be more excited for anything.
The problem with this job is not seeing stuff. Like, it is so hard to not see stuff. I have to, both at the store and through the podcast, I have to be aware of some of this stuff. But I kind of give myself this firm, like, one teaser, one trailer, and then I'm out. Because I know what's going on. I can get an idea. I can talk to people about it. But I don't want to see more because I'm so sick of having... The first 10 minutes of Captain America is online today. Disney released the first full 10 minutes of the movie. Why would you watch that? I don't want to see it on my stupid computer. I want to see that opening day.
Because we learned that with The Dark Knight.
Right? I didn't watch that either. Fuck that. No way. No. I want to see that in the theater with the crowd, with the surround, with friends, with popcorn, what the whole... I don't want to...
surround.
Yeah.
The surround.
I don't want to see it sitting here, so... But I'm excited. If we're getting 3-4 some odd Marvel movies a year going
now, is
forward.
This, you think the quality will go down at all? Is this
That would be
Pixar putting out one movie a year, and we're getting car sequels?
Well, and here's the problem: Spider-Man, they've rebooted.
And you love the new Spider-Man.
Yeah, to some form of success.
I think the crane scene is what really sold it for me.
I mean, the movie did okay. Like, it didn't do groundbreaking, but it did decent numbers. So,
am I a bad person because I liked the newest one more than the other 3?
No,
No, you're just Toby.
Yeah, you're sitting in Toby's chair, so it's you're
Spider-Man
Toby.
2 I loved. I didn't like 1 and 2, but I liked the new one.
I don't know. To me, it was just like we just did this. It feels like 2000. It was 13, 12 years ago, but to me, it feels like yesterday, right? 2001 or whatever. Like, it feels like the movie just happened. So, or 2001 and mid 2000 and 2001.
2000,
Well,
summer
2001,
2001, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Amazing came out in 2011?
No, 12.
No, 2012.
Yeah.
12? It was 12?
Yes.
But I mean, they
Iron Man 3?
can't shelve Spider-Man that long because of the way the rights are. So
Right. Of course.
It's going to be rebooted again, probably.
No,
way too
right.
soon.
So, to me, I think you just have to do something different with it, and I don't think they did enough different with it. X-Men found a great way to sort of like reboot, but not really, and now we're just going to combine them.
I can't say it enough how I had the littlest expectation going into First Class. I didn't think it was going to be good, and then
I saw it like 3 weeks after it came out, and no one was saying anything about it. And I was like, "This is amazing!"
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah,
Yep.
Loved it.
So, but the problem comes, and we've said this before: Iron Man 6 with a new actor and no relation to anything, or all the actors starts leaving. If Avengers 4 is all new actors in the main roles, will it work quite as well?
Will they do different Avengers, or do we have to stick with the ones that we already have?
I think the problem is if you have a bunch of B-list characters, I think it's a little tougher. I mean, Iron Man was never a popular character until the movie came out. He had his comics, but the comics were never bestsellers, never popular. He was always, an important part of the Marvel Universe, but he was never a popular character.
Other than Robert Downey,
So it's possible.
It seems like they're moving towards the get people into longer term contracts and everything.
Right, but even that, if they're appearing in their own movie, a cameo, if they appear in S.H.I.E.L.D. once, they appear in Avengers.
Well, that's where you get into the are you saying this many appearances or this many movies? Like, I'm sure it's all detailed down in those contracts.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at Iron Man, Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, but I think like with Captain America, they're going a little bit better direction where it's the first Avenger, Winter Soldier. They're not doing numbers with them.
Well, they're taking the James Bond route, which is the best way to do it.
It's the best way to do it because then you can base it around the story. So, like for X-Men, we have Days of Future Past. So then we can do the Dark Phoenix.
No, then they're doing Apocalypse.
I know, but you can do the different story arcs, and it's not necessarily affected if they change the actors. If you're kind of separating them out like the Bond style, right? Because if they change the Bond, Bond has changed a couple times, it's still a Bond movie.
Yeah. I think by maybe not specifically numbering them, or by kind of get through. If they can have the same cast through Avengers 3 on all the movies, including Iron Man, Thor, and Cap, that's when you change. Avengers 3 is going to be Thanos. They've already talked about this. That's the end of sort of the first big kind of story arc that they've been building on. That's a good place to start switching out actors. So,
wow.
Is that 2017?
I'm just currently envisioning with the Infinity Gauntlet, he could totally change how everybody looks.
Sure, he could just be like, "Oh, you all look different now." At the end of the movie, universe shudders a little bit. So,
but we'd get a stop of Iron Man movies? Because do you think he'd want to stick around? Because we're already at 3, and we're not to the second movie for another year.
I don't think we'll see more than Cap 3, Iron Man 3, and Thor 3. They'll do other movies, and then they'll bring them back on another cycle. Yeah. That'd be my guess.
Like, I know when they were doing the contracts for Robert Downey, they didn't really build in any more Iron Man movies into that contract. It's all about signing him up for the next 2 Avengers.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be in anything
because he was off a contract after Iron Man 3, so they had to renegotiate. But I mean, they were reporting recently that even the actor who's playing the Winter Soldier has now been locked in for like 6 movies,
right,
stuff like that. So I mean, they're locking everybody down.
All right, let's move on.
Moving on here.
Other news.
Moving on here to
moving on up.
Where was it?
Dynamite.
Why can't I find the name of this here?
The internet?
I guess not. The name is just literally not written here. Well, I believe it's David Gabriel, who is the vice president of sales and marketing for Marvel. Not listed here as a name, but I believe it's him. It says, in a few weeks we'll be announcing a universe-changing event for the world of Spider-Man, unlike the one that just happened where he became where
was
Doc Ock for a year.
Peter Parker.
The
Mary Jane.
The demise of a fan favorite character and a blockbuster event from one of the hottest writers in the industry. The Spider-Man thing, no idea. They haven't announced anything. I'm assuming this will just be whatever the big arc coming up in Spider-Man is. So, Dan Slott was quoted as saying, "We only get one shot to do this Spider-Man story. This could be one of the best Spider-Man stories we're ever going to tell."
Until they bring the character back.
I was going to say, so we're going to kill Aunt May this time, or what's the big Spider-Man story? So they've done a lot of stuff with Superior Spider-Man, which I have loved. So I'll give Dan Slott the benefit of the doubt here. The demise of a fan favorite character has to be Wolverine, because they've been talking about the stupid death of Wolverine for a while now, and that because he's powerless,
which has been driving me insane. I don't like it.
The Wolverine comic is not good, and I don't know why they're doing this. It seems so... Of every character, they have blown Wolverine up to a pile of blood, and he regenerated from that. I'm pretty sure he can find a way to come back if they kill him, and,
What's in this test tube that's been frozen?
Well, when they killed Superman, it was never... No one ever... Their plot was, we're going to bring him back in a month or two. Like, that was always a plot. It seems like Marvel, especially in recent years, have tried to be like, oh, when are they coming back? It's not a when. It's not an if. It's a when. It's going to be in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Superior Spider-Man went on way longer than I thought it was going to.
Which, I know I've ranted about this before. I don't know if I've ranted on the podcast, but the one thing that really, really bothers me about the Marvel PR machine behind these deaths is the fact that they always claim we have no plans to bring them back. This is a permanent death. And then when they announce they're coming back, they always say, this was the plan all along.
Right. Of course. Yeah. But the blockbuster event from one of the hottest writers in history, in the industry, not history, they have Original Sin, which is a big event coming up from Jason Aaron. So I don't know if this is another big crossover they're doing or what, but...
Yay, more crossovers.
they sell okay. So people like them.
Except when you bump your numbers and you don't sell shit.
Well, some of those. Forever Evil and Justice League. Forever Evil has been late and later and even more later.
Yep.
And then occasionally even more later again.
Yep.
It has now been pushed back again.
What?
To April 16th. Every week it's been pushed back again, so I'm sure we're going to see this pushed back another time.
Well, is Sandman Overture going to come up before?
It's supposed to be the end of this month. It's supposed to be, next week? No, 2 weeks. It is still on the schedule. It has not been changed again. DC, get your shit together. Forever Evil has been shipping forever. It's forever late. Get your book out, please. Don't do this again. I'm sick of these late books.
I've had this conversation with people in the shop, and for the big event books, I understand the drive to kind of span it over 6 months, but honest, double ship that. Give me 2 issues a month for 3 months. Just knock it out of the park, get it done with. Don't drag it on.
Infinity, as much as I thought the double shipping or the shipping with New Avengers and Avengers was going to hurt it, that was a story that came and it did its thing and it was over and I didn't forget anything by the time I read it. I don't really forget Forever Evil, but man, it's a lot. I mean, we're going basically 2 months between issues at this point.
Yeah, I've reached the point now, especially when it comes to DC, that I prefer events like Throne of Atlantis and even like Trinity War. Just the crosses over between these issues to tell a 9-issue story amongst 3 different books. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and you get 3 months worth of material, and you felt like it was good. With Forever Evil, it's been dragging on for so long that it's like 7 months, and now it's been pushed back to virtually 8.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny to me. Because,
wait, you mean from when Forever Evil started?
Yeah.
It's been way longer than that.
Are we at 9 months?
Let me find out when the ship date.
I was just going to say that, like, this is really nothing new. It just, I think it feels longer because of the amount of content that's coming out through Marvel right now, and even certain things that have gotten dragged into Forever Evil, like Justice League Dark and everything. It just, I don't know. I think if it was like a complete standalone thing, it probably wouldn't feel so crazy.
Is it just getting the creators together, or
I don't know. I don't know.
Theories or anything?
Yeah, it'll be just a little shy of 9 months.
Yeah.
So for 7 issues, which again, that's not awful, but does it feel like forever because we have so many books that are shipping twice a month, and we've I thought we were over this late books with DC and Marvel really has been, except for Hawkeye, but that's kind of been their only weird outlier.
Well, I mean, DC was really, really good for a while, and then recently they've let some things slip.
As far as I can tell, have they?
Yeah.
They're only letting basically Jim Lee and Jeff Johns slip. Everybody else is not allowed to slip.
Yeah. They're big guys.
Hey, we got to keep that bun in the oven for 9 months. Let me tell you.
And Sandman.
Yeah.
So
yes. Mike, you watched The Flash. I'm sorry, you watch Arrow?
I do.
So you saw a little of The Flash.
So you saw a little of The Flash.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. That was good. Yeah, I haven't watched it since it came back from its break for the winter break.
There's only been the Olympics,
winter,
or the previous break
when Flash with the.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think I've watched an episode since then. I love the show, but it's one of those ones that I binge, and then when I'm watching like 3 or 4 episodes in a row, I'm like, why don't I watch this weekly? And I spend my time watching like Supernatural.
They've had some annoying delays they've had some annoying breaks recently. They took 2-3 weeks off for the Olympics.
That's CW though. They always
they came back for one. Schedules. They were off last week. They're back on this week. So
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I had to skip the episode last week. You were going to spoil something.
Oh yeah.
Oh good.
Well,
it's had at least.
Yeah, and I've been hearing Suicide Squad, which I loved. The rejiggered Suicide Squad, and I love the old Suicide Squad.
Stop!
Yeah.
He's gonna start using that word again.
He promised me $5 every time I said it.
Well, I'm just having fun going. So let's see. You're Bryce's best friend now. You're Brock's best friend now. You're my best friend now.
So you
love for Ryan.
So you like Arrow? Are you gonna watch The Flash when it comes on?
Oh yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you seen the costume? They
I saw. I haven't seen like a big blown up picture. I think I saw it like on Facebook.
But you saw the full suit. So they revealed last week. They revealed the full suit.
I don't know. I don't know how I felt about it. I think because Arrow's costume is so like kind of toned down.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of like a hood, and and this is just so. I mean, it's Flash, but I
Okay. We have to see him running it. That's what we have to.
Yeah, they have a YouTube video where someone filmed him just running, but it's not effects and actually filmed on.
Did you feel cheated by not getting any Flash with him?
No, I knew we weren't going to. I mean, they had said they were going to kind of maybe tease it, but I didn't think.
I didn't know if we were going to see him or not, and
I didn't think so.
It was so good though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the original plan was they were going to backdoor pilot it at the one of the later episodes in the season, and then they just said, "Well, forget that. We'll just pilot it."
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's because they did such a good job with those few episodes where we all nerd boyed out at these chemicals. These are so dangerous, and then we're like, oh. And then they actually do it later, and you're like, yes. So.
And I love the building up all season, talking about just the news flashes in the corner. And
well, so they did have the costume here. It looks pretty good.
Not as good as that Flash T-shirt you're wearing, you're from Big Bang Theory.
Flash T-shirt's awesome. So they've done some changes. The costume is very kind of scarlet or maroon, like a darker red. Not
Did you
as
play
bright.
Injustice?
Yeah.
Reminded me of the Injustice costume.
A little bit. It's a little. I didn't think it was be kind of so leathery. I didn't know what they were going to do with it, but it is maybe not exactly what I pictured. I like the headpiece. I like that they even have the little chin strap thing here. That's accurate to the comics. I like that. He has a couple lightning bolts on him, which is cool. He has some gold on his boots. People wanted gold boots, gold gloves. That looked tacky. I don't see that working. My only nitpicky thing, and this is again just pure nitpick stuff, is he has the lightning bolt on the chest, which is great, but it's a red symbol. I thought that could have been where they used the gold. That's where they used the yellow. Kind of take like a Batman approach and be like, "Oh, this is where you aim," something like that.
The thing is they may do something. It's just the costume. They may do something with that more as like
electric,
like CG. So that like Green Lantern, he was wearing something, but they added the stuff to it in CG. So
and they did change Arrow's costume as it went on. So
yeah, I was going to say that this could be his first attempt at a costume.
Yeah, they could change it. So,
Wait, Arrow's costume isn't just his chest.
Yeah. It's basically all. That's all you see.
Robin's costume changed to Red X in Teen Titans Go. That was awesome.
Yes. Let me guess, you haven't seen that one yet.
Not the more recent.
Well, you remember that they did the whole Red X thing in the original Teen Titans?
Yeah.
They
bring it
brought
back.
that back, and it was awesome.
Out.
I actually forgot to show you guys this, but I don't know if you saw. They showed a picture of Robin Lord Taylor as Oswald Cobblepot from Gotham. So they've already started filming Gotham.
I saw the picture of
he looks cool.
The guy that plays Gordon.
Did they actually start filming, or is this just the early?
Yeah, no, they started filming.
Nice.
Is that next year?
In the fall? I believe it's this fall. Yeah.
Now,
that's gonna be on Fox.
the only thing is, he looks to. I don't know what they're going to do, but he's too tall.
Who?
The guy they have playing Cobblepot.
Nah, whatever. I don't bother.
I mean, Emperor Penguin, maybe.
If Wolverine can be like 6'4", I don't care. Whatever. Penguin could be like 5'8" or whatever, however tall this guy is. So that's fine.
Fake it at least. That's fine. Something.
They will.
Give him a waddle.
The camera angles, like in
he has to waddle.
But we are in this golden age of like comic book movies and TV shows. Like, I can't even.
Green light.
I know everything. It's just ridiculous. They had the picture of John Constantine a week or two ago. I can't even remember if we talked about that.
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, it looked identical.
Nice.
He looks
a movie
amazing.
Or a TV show?
TV show. Yeah. So Hellblazer TV show. So just all this is so good. I'm so happy
with Keanu Reeves, right?
Oh, jeez. We have so much to talk about. One last little bit of news here. Total rumor. This comes from Bleeding Cool. I don't know if I buy this, and if I do, I don't think I'm going to buy it. DC Comics is in rumors to buy Dynamite Entertainment.
Maybe they're just buying Dynamite to blow up their old building once they leave New York, and somebody took it as they were buying Dynamite Comics.
If you don't know what Dynamite Entertainment is, it is also part of Dynamic Forces, if you remember those from the 90s, the wonderful special, super limited to 50,000 copy comic books.
I will tell you this. I love ripping those holographic stickers off the back and going, ha.
They're limited edition comics from the 90s. These days would be like top 20 bestsellers. And these were variant limited edition covers that would sell for like $14.99 back in the 90s. There was a lot of money in the 90s that doesn't exist anymore. But yeah. So Dynamite Entertainment currently publishes mostly licensed material, The Shadow, Green Hornet,
the old pulpy.
Vampirella, Red Sonja.
They do Game of Thrones, right?
No, that's Game of Thrones is...
No, I thought they did Game of Thrones.
No, maybe Dynamite... No, I'm sorry. They don't publish the collected editions. They publish the... It's like another company that does the trades, but they do the single-issue comics.
Were they X-Files?
No, that's IDW right now. Yeah. So that's the other big license company. DC tried to do this with the Red Circle characters, the old Archie superheroes, a little while ago. They've tried it with the Spirit, and none of these books have worked very well. Dynamite can sell 3,000 copies of The Shadow, and it's successful for them, but DC, that's not... They can't do that. That's not going to work. So I don't know what the deal here is. I don't know if they want Alex Ross back, because as Charlie knows... Alex Ross basically works almost exclusively for Dynamite at this point.
But he's doing a Spider-Man cover soon.
He is. Maybe that's why. Maybe because Dynamite's being sold, so he's leaving Dynamite. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this.
I read the same article, and they mentioned that there's a Green Hornet Batman 66 crossover.
Right, so that we knew was coming up. Kevin Smith is
somehow I missed it.
Yeah, Kevin Smith is going to be writing a Batman 1966 Adam West comic with Green Hornet, and they're going to do a sequel to the TV show episode, which is pretty fantastic.
Yes, that is awesome.
I read a little bit of the ones that he was putting out, Green Hornet, a little while ago.
Yeah, he didn't really write those.
Oh.
They were based on a script he did for a movie treatment. So he wasn't really involved in the writing of the comic. They plastered his name all over that, just not in the credit box. Cool if it happens, but it's just going to be another thing they're going to shutter in 5 years, and the licenses will go somewhere else when they don't want to renew them.
Back to Dynamite?
Maybe somehow Warner Brothers wants this for some sort of movie rights for The Shadow. Maybe they think they can finagle it back that way.
Or TV.
With comic rights, maybe. I have no idea what the long-term goal here is. It's just
to roll it into the new 54 when they...
It's just it's a strange... I don't know. I don't know what the game plan here is. I don't know where they take this, but there you
awesome.
go.
I still like my Dynamite for blowing up a building. Move on to Twitter questions.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
So we have a bunch of questions from Twitter. I read some of these. Let's see. Mitchell.
Hey, Mitch, what's up?
Broxton Mitchell likes to write us every single episode. Such great questions, too. But I kind of answered his question already. He asked, what is this original Sin comic that's coming out? And we kind of already answered that inadvertently. But the original Sin comic is a crossover coming out from Marvel. It is Jason Aaron and Mike Deodato doing the art, I believe. It's about the death of the Watcher, this big-headed guy that sits around on the moon and watches people all day and never, ever interferes, except for always. That's his goal. He's like, we're the Watchers. We never interfere. Except I'm going to interfere this time and tell you that Galactus is coming.
You know, that is a very common theme amongst beings that are supposed to just watch and not interfere.
It's supposedly just Uatu. It's just the Watcher from, like, this galaxy or whatever. Like, he's always like, yeah, fuck these guys. I'm going to go tell these guys everything that's happening.
He's the black sheep of the Watcher family.
I'm going to go spoil Game of Thrones for them and go tell them everything. So, yeah.
Wait till you get to Joffrey's wedding.
So they're going to kill him for some reason. Don't make me pull this podcast over, okay? Come on. So yeah, Mitchell, there you go.
It's in the books. I thought
he doesn't read books.
Yeah, I don't read books. Larry from Larry's Comics. Apparently, not too far
from...
My
neighbor.
Yeah,
I haven't actually been, but...
You'll have to go say
I go
hi.
north for comics.
And you are actually a customer at another
Double
shop?
Midnight Comics in Manchester, New Hampshire, and now their second location in Concord, New Hampshire.
I sent him a message over Twitter and said we stole one of your customers.
And they host the Granite Con, New Hampshire's Comic Con each year in October. Check it out.
Yeah, if you're back there, go check those guys out.
They are fantastic. I cannot say enough. They are the nicest people. Ask them any question. It's so helpful.
Cool. Unlike me and Brock and Charlie, we're just awful. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
But Larry's got a couple of good questions here. One of them is Dan Didio, really, and I believe that question is in reference to.
I think he is real.
Dan Didio being the writer on the new Forever People comic, coming from it's like Infinity Man and the Forever People, coming from DC.
I love their first record, but their second just kind of lost focus, I thought.
Oh, I like Dan's work on OMAC. He did
Yeah.
OMAC when they launched New 52. That and with Keith Giffen, and Keith Giffen's doing this as well. I like that a lot. It was goofy as hell and bizarre, but I liked it. So I'm hoping this is. I mean, it bombed horribly. It was one of the worst selling books that they published.
His Phantom Stranger wasn't bad.
And Phantom Stranger has been good too. So I like Dan as a person. I've met him a number of times. He's a really good guy. A lot of fun to talk to. His writing is mostly. I've enjoyed most of the books he's written.
I will admit, his Outsiders trash.
His Outsiders is not good. Sorry, Dan. But the problem is his books don't sell that well. I don't know if he likes obscure characters and they're just never going to sell well, and that's just the way it is. I hope this
Straight to graphic novel.
I hope this book does well. I'd like to see another successful DC comic. But
That's not Bat Family.
We'll see. Right, exactly. We'll see. Larry brings up another point here and says that DC is selling lenticular 3D Sandman Overture #1 comics at Emerald City Comic Con.
We will love you if you get us copies.
Larry feels burned. I'm of two minds of these things, personally, as a comic retailer. I hate that they do it, but I understand that they do it, and there's nothing you can do. People sell variant covers all day long. The amount of copies of a 3D lenticular Sandman #1 they're going to sell is minimal because they're going to do for $10, $15, $20 or something like that. These companies have been doing this forever. Every con, DC has a Justice League variant. Marvel has 10 variants with a local baseball team whenever they do these cons. These things exist. I can't get too mad over it.
And Ryan will buy them.
And I will totally buy them. I want one for myself. So
I want one.
Jordan, if you're listening, grab
Did you
me
get all
one.
the 50 states of the Justice?
We won't talk about that.
He did. Well, it was good on that one because you could order it as a set.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a
And it
very
was
nice
cheaper?
discount. It was
I've got my New Hampshire one.
There you go.
Hey,
There you go.
I got California, Oregon, Illinois, Indiana.
Yeah. So, Larry, I'm right there with you as a retailer. As a fan, I still want one now.
So Jordan needs to get us.
So Jordan, we
all
need
of
a couple
us.
copies. Jordan, if you're listening, Jordan
I think the
Fegley
number you told him was 40.
of the Jordan Fegley of the Infinite Long Box podcast, Charlie's other podcast that he cheats on us with. Go find us some copies of that book. Thank you. And Jess. And Bruce.
From Heroes and Villains.
Yes, Heroes and Villains. Go listen to my Morpheus Sandman episode and my Speedball episode. Could not find two more different episodes. I suggested
one you do before, so the other one's funner.
I suggested to Chris Yost, current writer of the New Warriors, that he should bring back the Speedball Revenge Squad on Twitter the other day. He didn't know what that was.
Nobody knows what
that is.
Most people don't even know he had a cat.
That is true. Niles is awesome.
Take Miles to that place you saw today.
Jason asks, bigger risk for a movie, Doctor Strange and Miss Marvel or Black Widow? I'm going with Doctor Strange. Of that list, I'm going with Doctor Strange.
Yeah, because with Miss Marvel, you can get big enough boobs. I mean, Barbed Wire made money.
Did it?
Yes, apparently it's somewhere at point
and
it
Tank
made
Girl
money.
make not as much because of the comparisons to the size comparisons.
Yeah.
Black Widow's been in the comics.
I don't mean. I actually forgot there was a female here.
Earmuffs.
Black Widow's been in the movies.
Yeah, Black Widow's
Yeah.
known.
I think they can move her over into a solo movie or a Shield movie.
ScarJo.
Yeah,
Shield
Yeah.
movie not attached to agents.
easy enough.
As long as they kept the budget in a...
And I think Miss Marvel is a strong enough character, military background. They could do a lot with that. Again, easy enough. Doctor Strange, that's going to be a trippy-ass movie. Magic by the hairy host of Hoggoth. I don't know if that's going to fly with a lot of people.
Yes, because Harry Potter didn't sell at all.
Well, there has to
But
be.
it's not the same, though.
John Constantine has the edge.
Okay, if Doctor Strange comes out and he's like 16 years old, you're going to have other problems than
Doctor.
Yeah.
I watched way too many Harry Potter movies, and look what happened to me.
Now, what if they take Doctor Strange and make him a little bit more like another doctor we know and all love here on the podcast, except for Brock?
I just haven't watched them.
Do a little bit different, maybe a little more quirky, a little British accent, change it up a little
You
bit.
can get the female talking about the Doctor.
Yep. Maybe.
I think
Comic
all
fans
three
would
of them
hate
could
it.
work.
Comic fans would hate it, but people would line up for a Doctor Who inspired Doctor
Do
Strange
comic
movie.
fans like stuff?
No, they hate everything. We are living proof of this.
We hate it.
Yeah. But I
just think how crazy a Doctor Strange movie could be.
But see, and here's the thing: I would love a Doctor Strange movie that was $200 million and ridiculous and crazy, but no one would go to it. That's the problem. Like, so it's just finding this balance of what will civilians actually watch.
See, that is really the problem I see with a Doctor Strange movie. Is just to do it right, it would have to have a big budget, but having a big budget would instantly invalidate
kills
its ability to.
And this is what the truth of the matter. It's his costume. I mean, that thing is. I don't even know.
Amazing. Yes, it is.
It's like tights with like a pelt,
Dude,
fur pelt.
He makes Nightwing's 80s like flair, like
Doctor Strange's Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh, it is. It is like his collar is above his head. Okay, that's how big it is.
That's what they need to do. They just need to make him a musical personality.
Do you think Guardians will pave the way? Do you think? What do we?
I think Guardians is going to be awesome.
I think Guardians is going to do well because they're seemingly approaching it with enough humor and joking at and laughing at themselves, but they're going in what I believe to be a Star Wars-like fashion, and that they're not making it too heavy-handed, too science fiction. They're going to be like, we're just a bunch of crazy aliens that hear shit blowing up. And some people don't like that, but for me, I'm like, nope, that's perfect. That's how you do this.
Chris Pratt seems to be unstoppable right now.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I take everything back. Marvel can make whatever movie they want right now, and it will make money.
Sure. They'll figure it out.
DC, maybe not. But
I think Miss Marvel and Black Widow are so street level, quote unquote, are so grounded enough that it's easier to make those movies. When you start going to outer space and you start going to other planets and other dimensions and magic, you can. Harry Potter was a very grounded set of movies and books, so people are okay with it. But if he's going and fighting Dormammu and going to hell and going all these crazy dimensions and like
Sauron
to me,
pops up.
It's maybe a little too much.
See, my thing right now is,
but Lord of the Rings. So who knows?
Marvel has been doing a very good job of basically marketing their movies as the quote unquote summer Marvel movie and the winter Marvel movie.
Yeah.
As long as they kind of keep that brand to the point, they can almost put any movie in there, and it will make some amount of money that can clear a typical box office.
Yeah.
I didn't think Thor was going to work.
I was worried about Thor.
Asgard. I thought the suits would just be a bit too much.
I think it's Loki.
But
I mean, I know a lot of people that don't like the Thor movies, but I think Loki made those movies work, and that's about as far as I think you can go.
That, and they made some intentional decisions to make it be less magic and more technology.
Right.
Skarsgård as the crazy professor.
Right. Rachel Panditch, who's also a regular on the Heroes and Villains podcast as well, she asks, I'm thinking of going cosplaying for the first time this summer. Now, this question's for you. Ready? 80s Dazzler or 90s Dazzler?
No extreme X-Men Dazzler.
So
that broke my heart a little bit.
The extreme X-Men stuff.
And I read each one too, and I was like, why am I doing
cried.
this?
So for people that don't know Dazzler, Ryan Scott's favorite comic of all time, Dazzler is this. Maybe today should be Lady Gaga, but in the 80s when
she's the disco roller girl.
But in the 80s when she was created, at the height of disco and roller,
Donna Summer,
right? So she was only about a decade late, but that was comic books, right? So think of it this way: in the mid 80s, a disco character was created. This is how comics worked back then, okay? All white. She's got the big boots, probably got a little fish swimming in the heels or something like that, right? Amazing costume. Then in the 90s, they were like, okay, we can't have this ridiculous costume. So,
she was Silver Sable for a minute, right?
No, Dazzler? No, Silver Sable has other costume problems. Dazzler basically got this kind of Jim Lee-esque upgrade of like pure bodysuit with like the big star and the swoosh hair that everyone had in the 90s and like the one missing shoulder pad. Like it was like there was just nothing here. And so do you go classic or do you go 90s classic? Which way do you go? You're gonna make her costume for her. So
I would pick.
You have to choose.
I would pick the 80s.
OG, huh? OG Dazzler.
It's just ridiculous, like the whole idea of it.
She got the Ziggy Stardust kind of face thing going on, and
Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah, I agree. You gotta go eat these stuff.
And Rachel, as long as you do it for fun, for yourself, and you don't
Then
get
it
paid
doesn't
for
matter.
it,
Don't sell out. Don't go corporate.
Ryan is behind you 100%.
Yeah, whatever. I'm over that. Do whatever you
corporate
want.
cosplayers.
I don't care. Do whatever you want. This is from Eric, who asks, do you guys see speculators buying in the store when Marvel and DC movie rumors are going around? And that definitely applies to TV as well. And they want to buy for very cheap. Unfortunately, I see what they're selling for on eBay, and I mark them up accordingly, and then no one wants to buy them anymore because they want to sell them on eBay for $200 and buy them for $2. So people try. Sometimes people buy them. Yeah. But for the most part, yeah, it's kind of minimal. It depends.
I see a few like actual collectors come in and they'll buy stuff
Sure.
in response to what's going on in the movies.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
TV
but there's a
and
lot of speculators coming in looking
Oh,
for
no,
stuff
I'm not
too.
saying there's not. I literally had the people come in with their kids and like their kids like, oh, this is, yeah, it's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why when people come in and they're like, hey, I'm watching Arrow. I'm like, here's the comic book. Don't buy those issues on the wall that are suddenly worth a lot. Here's the trade paperback. Read this. If you like it, there's a lot more. Don't waste your money on that stuff. Those are for specific people.
Yeah.
So I like selling back issues. I like selling, back issues for a profit.
Perfect recent example is like Preacher and Hellblazer.
Preacher and Hellblazer have gone through the roof recently, and there's a certain crowd that is willing to pay. But if someone comes in, I'm going to hand them a trade paperback because I'm like, don't spend your money on that. Spend your money on the trade.
Still,
oh yeah,
still high up.
The comics, like the
Yeah.
singles. Oh yeah. I think they've kind of maybe hit its peak and drifted down
I
a
saw
little
they
bit.
were going crazy there for a little bit.
Yeah.
like season 2, I think.
Yeah, well, that's when I sold mine. So yeah, that Walking Dead. I haven't checked recently, but I think it kind of capped out. I don't think it's been quite.
Well, Guardians, the 25 issues from the 08 run I sold mine for $200.
Yeah, that's settling around 250, 3 in that range. I don't know if we'll see. Maybe when the movie comes out, we'll see it go higher. I don't know.
If Marvel actually put those trades out before the movie,
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me as someone that isn't deep into comics, and I have friends that I would love to introduce, like my wife, to stuff before we go see it.
Well, a lot of them are on the digital.
That's true.
A lot of them on that store.
And they've
Marvel
started
Unlimited.
getting a little bit better about it. Like a new Winter Soldier hardcover just came out, and
Right before the movie.
yeah,
Couple
but at
weeks.
least it's actually out before
Guardians
the movie.
is after. That's the
no,
problem.
was it?
Yeah.
Did it come out before the 10 minutes or after the 10 minutes?
Not before. It was a few weeks ago. I got 2 questions
No.
here. We got 2 more questions here, and I'll wrap this up. Maddie asks, so when Marvel acquires the Star...
Maddie?
It's Maddie?
Not Maddie Collector?
No.
Because
I have words to say about Maddie Collector. So when Marvel acquires a Star Wars comic license starting next year, will the current storylines end, or will they continue? They will 100% end, and you'll never hear about any of that stuff again. Unless Marvel decides to reprint the trades and then maybe continue. But my guess is we are going to have a Knights of the Old Republic comic. We're going to have a main Marvel comic, probably written by Brian Wood, that's not connected to the main Star Wars comic that he's doing right now that's written by Brian Wood. I'm assuming they're just going to kind of keep that over. But we're going to do a new spin on it. You'll have Scotty Young doing 25 variants a month, and he's going to destroy on Star Wars little kid variants, those Scotty Young variants. Oh, it's going to be so good.
I think they'll bring back because they had the license
Way back in the day. Yeah.
way back in the day. You think they'll reprint any of that stuff? Or is that...
those have been in and out of print, and Dark Horse has them in print right now. IDW got the license to G.I. Joe and Transformers, and they've had a lot of success continuing the original Marvel series, taking the numbering, continuing the plots, getting some of even the original creators to come back to work on those books. It would not surprise me if Marvel is like, hey, we're going to have like a... What they ended? Is it 80? I think it was 80. No, Star Wars was like 108, I believe it was. So like 109, and we'll continue the plots of the old book and make it look kind of old. It'd be genius if they did that. I think people would buy that because the Transformers and G.I. Joe both do well because there's a lot of fans that got into comics because of those books, and they've continued to buy into this day. So
I don't know.
I think we sell a lot of those.
I'm just enjoying this sort of countdown time, so now they can put out all the nice hardcovers and everything before they lose the license at Dark Horse.
Oh, Dark Horse is going to dump a ton of stuff before the end of the year.
I have a friend that just buys Star Wars comics. He's
they're very popular.
Getting everything he can, and he's a little upset.
Well, it seems, from what I understand, once the end of the year happens. They can't print anything new, so you're going to see Dark Horse print the hell out of their stuff leading up to this. Because if they haven't been print, the Star Wars books are still good sellers, so they will continue to sell. Yeah. And last question here from Crimson8199, because Crimson8198 we're taking. What are your guys' thoughts? I have to make that joke every time.
It's a classic.
Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on? I totally misread this first time I read it. Batman vs Superman, Superman of Steel, whatever, and Captain America 3 sharing the same date, which they announced. Captain America 3 is now they bumped Man of Steel 2 back a year to 2016.
Avengers, right? Wasn't it?
Right. It was going to be
going up against Avengers 2.
Yeah. And so they moved it back, and then Marvel said, "Oh, yeah, Captain America 3 is going to be the first Saturday in May," right after Man of Steel 2 got announced for the first first Friday in May. I mean,
one of them will flinch. They always do. They always, a few years out with movies, they'll always say this movie's coming out against.
The problem is, I'm assuming it's going to be DC, because I don't think DC can get their shit together at this point. I'm hoping...
Will it be done by then?
Right, that's the question.
Well, I admit I'm already relieved the fact that they pushed it back, because I don't like it when things come out without the proper
No, I want it to be
lead up.
Done properly, but I want it to come out eventually.
Oh, no, I'm all for it come out eventually, but the fact that they had already scheduled a date for it before a script was written, before that kind of shit scares
but you
me.
need that Comic-Con reveal. You need that Comic-Con reveal with a room full of people.
So every year, I'm saying I'm going to Comic-Con next year because that's the year the Man of Steel 2 movie or Justice League is going to come out. And so when they announce it's not... Right, because I want to go the year before, because that's when it's going to happen. And they push it back. I'm like, well, I'll go to Comic-Con this year. I'll go next year. I'll go next year when they're going to have the reveal. If they push it back or announce the Justice League or move it around, but I go in another year. So not going that year.
I think one of them.
I'm not going this year.
No.
Nope.
Oh, man. Although Cap 2 is just coming out. They have it done by then? I suppose it can. That's fast. That's fast to have Cap 2 come out that fast. So,
well, 2
or
years.
Or 3, I mean. So, yeah, that's quick.
When did Cap 1 come out? Wasn't that...
2010? 2011?
I think it was 11.
Oh, yeah, maybe they're speeding it up a little bit.
Yeah. All right. That's an episode. We're going to go ahead and wrap up.
Wow.
Yeah.
150.
150. It's over. What can you do? You know, we're here. We're here. Done. Brock's sleeping, so it's time to go. Mike, thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much for having me. And thank you for the 150 episodes.
Oh, no problem.
I was tending my garden and WoW and listening to you guys.
Listen to something slightly more boring than gardening and WoW.
I gotta turn in my vegetables, though, for reps.
Hell yeah. I've done that until fairly recently. Do that all the time.
I've watched you do shit like that.
I know.
It is boring.
So thank you two for both coming out. Thank you for listening to us blab on for an hour. Don't give him too much crap tonight. You know, this is something he likes. So, suffer for a day, and then you got the whole rest of your vacation to hang out with. So, perfect, guys. Thank you for stopping by. And thank you, everyone, for listening to the podcast. We'll be back next week for 151. Slightly less amazing of an episode, I guess. If you could be more amazing, I don't know. We do okay, though. I think we do okay.
Maybe that's the new story arc in Amazing Spider-Man.
Slightly more amazing. I should say this episode is going up early, but if you are listening to this and you are also listening to the Geekbox podcast, hopefully tomorrow, on Wednesday the 19th, we'll be posting an account. I don't know what you call it, a pledge thing.
The Pantheon thing?
Right.
Yeah, the Pantheon account is going to go live.
Patreon. Patreon. It's a website kind of like Kickstarter where you could basically go through.
Like Patronion?
Patreon.
Yeah,
Patreon.com. And look for Geekbox on there. We should be on there. There's going to be... It's basically in a similar fashion as something like Kickstarter, where you can make various donations that go to the funding of the Geekbox podcast, and some of that trickles down to us.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that trickle down economics.
You haven't seen that
bullshit.
sweet Geekbox trickle down?
Yeah.
I'm like, all I want is a case for the goddamn mics. 5 years down the road, no case for the goddamn mic.
We'll see what happens. If it's I've talked with Toby about possibly doing one for us as well, so we can maybe have fancy pizza before an episode, or not RC Cola. We can have Coca-Cola before the podcast.
Are you gonna start putting out 15 episodes a month?
Yeah. Well, so the way this works is, again, you're not doing a one-time donation, although you can. The way this basically works is every time a new episode goes up, there is you kind of get a little donation at the end of the month. You kind of calculate it all. You can set a limit, so you can do I never want to donate more than $5. If they put out 100 episodes, you'll still only max 5. There's going to be various tiers for donations, various rewards, again, much like Kickstarter for different things that we'll do and offer to people that support these various tiers. So go check that out and
can I just slide my card into the microphone?
Yeah, you got to sign up through them, but because you got to get all official on the list and everything like that. So.
You got to be on the list.
Oh, I've never been on a list.
But just so you know, it'll still be free on iTunes.
It is. And again, that's the same thing, right? Geekbox is free. This podcast is free. These are always free. Again, like they did with the Comedy Button, where they did their very successful Kickstarter.
Good job, Brain.
Good job, Brain, as well. Right, exactly. Again, we do this for fun. This is a run through the store. I'm not... I get people come here and buy comic books from me, so this is sort of
finally get out of this comic book industry.
Well, this is an hour-long advertisement every week, right? I mean, that's basically how we look at it. But the Geekbox, I
came from New Hampshire to come to the comic book
exactly,
store.
Exactly.
We've had them come from all over.
Yeah, but Ryan's got his little Geekbox empire he's building up over there and stuff. He's been building for a few years, and this is a great way.
It looks like a Minecraft game.
Yeah. No. So this is a great way to support myself and the Geekbox, and again, we see.
Just tell them the truth. You're supporting starving comic book geeks. That's what you're doing.
Well, those aren't comic books. Those are video game geeks. We're the comic book geeks over here.
It's starving artists.
No one's starving at this table. Trust me, man. Oh my god, that pizza earlier. Oh jeez.
I didn't eat the pizza.
Oh, that's what you get.
Yeah, I supported myself and brought my own vegan food.
Oh jeez, vegan. Christ. Anyway. Patreon.com. Go search for the Geekbox on there. We'll have links and we'll have everything up official. So you can go join there and support that, and that is good stuff. You can also...
I'll try and get a post on the blog.
Go to geekbox.net. We can find this episode and all their other episodes, as well as forums at geekbox.net. You can go talk to the 5 other people that talk there. Brock's trying
to
even do mimic me or something on there.
I have 5 posts there.
Yeah. Forums are great. I love those guys. Facebook group, Geekbox. I think it's Facebook. .com/groups/geekbox, I believe, is what that is. The groups have weird.
Just put a link on.
Well, the groups have
comic book.
The groups have weird things. Go search for the Geekbox on Facebook. We're the group on there, as well as the page. And go like that page. The Comic Conspiracy, geekbox.net. You can go send us emails there. We'll read a few of them occasionally. You can also join us on Twitter. I'm at Ryan Higgins Ryan. Brock is Brock Sager. Charlie is Insanity and Chaos. For the people that aren't here, Omar is Comics and Kind. Bryce, I think they're both coming back next week. Lars and Bryce. Toby is Toby XI.
Bryce needs to be back in 2 weeks.
Oh, right, because of our Comic Conspiracy Book Club pick of the month, which is...
X-Men title.
That's right. X-Men.
Dark Phoenix.
Days of Dark Phoenix. Of Days of Future Past. Dark Phoenix?
It's the Dark Phoenix saga.
I thought it was Days of Future Past.
No, he said
that was reading. Bonus reading if you wanted to do it.
Yeah. It is Dark Phoenix saga.
Yes,
you are correct. I almost read Days of Future Past.
Well, I'm reading Dark Phoenix Saga right now, so it better be.
Yeah, you can read them. You should read them both anyway. They're both awesome books. So
you should read them both anyway because the movie's coming out.
Yeah. That'll be in a week or two. We'll do that. Or 2 weeks, I guess, when we're doing that.
Speaking of stuff that's not going to be out soon enough.
And we have the Infinite Long Box podcast that Charlie does, as well as... Wait for it! Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension, Charlie's Doctor Who podcast, where they're watching every episode of Doctor Who from episode number 1, OG first ever episode, in chronological order. So he'll get to the good stuff in
30 years.
He'll get to the stuff that people watched in like 5 years or something like that.
Based on the math that I did, we should get to Pertwee after doing it about a year.
Wow, that's a long time. That's awesome, you guys. And this website is wanderin4d.com.
Yes.
Woohoo, and the Twitter handle is wanderin4d.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. It should all be the same, but it's not. It's all these different things, and I never remember it. But you said, am I waiting for something else? Is that it? You had hinted at something before I started saying that? Waiting for something? Were you talking about Doctor Who?
Oh, no. Now I'm all confused.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right, we're going to get out of
Can
here.
I pimp my Twitter?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah,
pimp whatever you want.
pimp
If anyone
the
wants to
blog?
hear my
Yes.
useless
Jeez.
ramblings
Yes.
about my trip to this strange place called California,
It is
I'm
strange.
at RentFN. RENTFN.
Excellent. Go follow Mike on there, and we will. You talk to me all the time on there. I see your questions. So perfect. Again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for
I lose
coming
a
out.
plug.
I hope you're, The comic conspiracy, not the comic conspiracy. Keep boxing as the email address. No, you're conspiratorBrock.com.
There we go.
That is your plug.
Yay.
Comicsintokind.com is Omar's blog, and go read all that stuff. So I'm all out of sorts.
Hey, we're an hour-long ad. I better get my 2 seconds in there.
I'm all out of sorts at the close of this episode. So, I think we got everything covered, though. Have a good rest of the vacation, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you again so much for having me.
No problem. Thank you very much. And we will catch everyone next week.